Maxwell Abel Jr.
Ooh,
right here.
I feel like I'm underdressed.
I don't know why. I don't get it. But anyway.
It just sounds so proper.
Oh, it is. It is. Well,
that's
and there's
formal. I feel like I'm underdressed here.
all right.
Morning, Rich.
Hey, Rich. So yeah, here in the desert, and man, Mother Nature dumped a bunch of snow up on the San Jacintos yesterday.
I want the postcard shot today. Across
there it is. All right. It's cold. It's only 47 this morning. Oh, it's only 47 here in the desert. I know. Yeah. Anyway, but who knows what's going to break today? It's supposed to rain again today. But we get up in the 80s this week, so bring it. Let's go. Guys, we got something a little different today. And we're going with the Ask Me Anything version, only because I think it's about time that we threw it out there to the viewers, to the players, to the real players, right?
Yeah.
Our students, our players who are actually digging in the trenches, down deep, working the shovel, and they got a question. I'm sure they do. So guys, feel free. In fact, I'm going to go look as we're talking at my email, just because I put it in there that
they get email.
If you're a little bit too shy to ask it on the live thing, that you can ask me through email. But so guys, look, go ahead. Just anything on your mind. Could be technique, could be and you know what's really, really frustrating to me is I'm going to name it ClickFunnels. You're driving me crazy. My email provider, I don't know if anyone got any emails this morning or not. I sent it out around 7:20. And of course, I didn't get anything unless it's in my spam. Let's try that. And there she is in my spam. Apparently, Outlook thinks I'm sending myself spam. All right. That's fine. I guess it did go out. 7:18. Yeah. All right. So far, nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go back to where we are. Here we are. Good.
Doubles partner to cover the middle more in our doubles matches.
Okay. All right. Hey, Kev, Mark, good morning. Good morning, guys. What is up? Rich, how do I get my doubles partner to cover the middle more in our doubles matches? Well, Jeff, since you're working with Rich, what would you tell him?
Well, it starts out first, let's get this on the table right out of the gate. If you're hope, like in league matches and things, you don't always play with the same partner. You're always being jumbled around, playing with a different partner and that kind of thing. So, can you guys hear me? I'm just double checking my.
I can hear you.
Okay, because it shows I'm not connected on my headset, but okay. Anyway, if you're trying to figure out you're playing with a partner for the first time and you want them to do something that they obviously aren't aware of, or they just don't normally play that way. In those situations, you're wasting your breath. In those, hour and a half that you're playing with that partner, if they don't like to play the net, nothing you say is going to get them to move up there. They're not going to become this different player on the fly. So this is the kind of thing. So Rich, for you, the idea is that you've got to play some matches with this person, and maybe have a watchful eye, somebody watching, or record the practice sets and start to dig into it and show, where everybody's standing. The basic premise is this, though. Why do you want somebody to actually cover the middle or at least squeeze the center, right? So we clog the center of the court. We always want to force our opponents to have to go out to the edges to pass us in a doubles match, because at some point the outside sideline becomes an issue and you start being able to call the ball out. But you never want to leave the middle of the court open. So how do I get my partner to do that? You got to spend some time on the court with them and get them to see what's actually going on. If you can construct the play in a manner that kind of tends to make the next ball feed down the center and show them, listen, I'm going to do this. I want you to stand here. And if you're in a practice set, you can probably, get a little movement in that direction. And then let's just see if they're standing, if the play does come to them, and there's some high probabilities that it will if you're constructing the point right. So they can see the opportunity is right there in front of them.
I would say also that's such a generalized question that you got to get more specific. So, Rich, look, is there a specific situation that you can type in? Because, I just think it's a little bit too generalized of a question, because there's so many different situations in doubles geometrically that there's and nuances. So if you could do that, that would be cool. Hey, Mark's got a good question. I'm going to start with this one, Jeff. He says, as expert players, you know how to construct points, but as a lower level player, how do you start learning this? And for me, it's I tell that player, well, the first thing that you have to do is you have to understand, what does that opponent over there want you to give them? So once you discover what that is, what is their strength? What do they absolutely want you to give them? Then you just say, well, okay, let's say it's their forehand. Okay, I'm not going to give you a forehand today because I know that you like that. And so that's how you start constructing the point. You now know, and point construction really is about shot choice. And so now we've just started to eliminate a whole bunch of different potential shot choices by going, all right, that guy's a right-handed player. All right, he loves his forehand. All right, we're going to be peppering and wearing out the ad side quadrant today until he proves that's also a strength. And the way you do that is, at least for me, Jeff, is I think less about trying to take the ball out wide to his backhand, but I think more about how do I go ahead and disguise getting this guy to move up and back. So I'll go ahead and play balls over to the quadrant side. I'm aiming for the middle of the box over there, that backside quadrant. If I'm a hair deeper, that's fine. I'm good. If it's a little bit early, I'm closer to the sideline, I'm still in. And if it ends up in the middle, I don't care.
Right.
So what I mean by up and back is I'm less concerned about stretching him out, because after a few shots, the guy realizes, okay, this guy knows I don't want forehands, so it's all coming to my backhand. So he starts edging over there looking for it. And if you're still thinking about trying to take him out wide, that's going to be tough. So I would just move him up and back. I would disguise whether it's a forehand or backhand. My backhand is going to be an underspin most of the time, and then disguise into a drop shot. And then the forehand most of the time is going to be somewhat of a semi-high roller that got some bounce to it. And I can still disguise a drop shot off of that as well. And look, if I feel like I've unintentionally hit a ball a little bit tougher, either the high rollers, he's backing up, or maybe I've actually got that backhand out there a little bit early and it's going wide, I'm coming in. So to me, that's where you start, Mark, is start probing, what does that opponent not want you to give them? And you can see that in doubles as well.
Right.
As opposed to play my game. What are my favorite shot patterns? Well, your favorite shot patterns you might discover based on that opponent's strength and or weakness is perfect. Great, go for it. But you also might find that your game, your favorite shot patterns, unfortunately, work into the strength over there. And now the thought is, well, now I've got to up my game. And that's a tough road to hoe right there, man. So
Yep. I would also throw in that this is where actual, having somebody be able to, literally hand feed balls and you work certain patterns. Having a, let's say, a choreographed pattern, and learning a choreographed pattern is really helpful, because then when you play, you're cutting and pasting then patterns together. And so you're the kind of the mental acuity of having to always be playing improvisational tennis, that level of stress goes down because you practice very specific patterns. So, and a pattern could be this. I'll hand feed, and this actually, Rich and I have been working on this lately, where he drives two. We're working on off of his forehand side. He drives two balls deep into the ad side corner, and then the third ball I feed from back on the baseline. So it's a full ball that I'm feeding. And then I want you to dump that third ball short. So we just get used to driving a ball and then being able to feather a ball, because that transition of being able to drive and drop basically requires, there's a feel to it. And it's very difficult sometimes for players that don't practice it to hit a ball heavy and then take an incoming ball that's hit normal and then feather that for the drop. And again, we're not looking for the ESPN drop shot. What we're looking for is, can I keep my opponent back behind the baseline and then dump a ball that bounces, let's say mid-service box or just past mid-service box? That's usually good enough in that scenario to catch your opponent a little bit late out of the gate, and then they're going to struggle a little bit coming forward. And that's when you start then repositioning and looking for the weak play off of their scramble. So getting a chance to have somebody actually hand feed, and don't go overboard with, oh, this is a 6-ball pattern. Nope. Because everything that's going on in the court can be broken down, as Brent, always says. Everything is a two shot combination, 2 to 3 shot combination. But you've got to start playing, spending a little time actually choreographing what those patterns are. So
good. Yeah. RLM 18, SO 18, how to play when you have a weak partner. Again, that's a really general question. Give me an example of what a weak, because lots of times a weak partner could be someone who just freaked out to be up at net. They don't want to volley, right? So, or someone who's, overall weaker. I mean, if you're a 4-0 player and you're playing with a 3-5 player, maybe so
I tend to go this direction. If I know I'm playing in that situation, I need to figure out what my partner does well. Yep. What's their favorite thing to do? Yep. And then I've got to recalculate and figure out, how do I get them involved so they get to do that? But otherwise you're trying to force your weak partner into doing something that ultimately they're not good at anyway. Is a day on the court of frustration, and it's wasted energy. So my first play is to, if I've never played with the person before, like, hey, what do you like to do? What, little conversation, not just what's your favorite side, but, and then when they're hitting, kind of pay attention a little bit, like, what's going on here? And there's nothing wrong with having a player who is really comfortable hitting a serve, staying back. I know it's doubles, but guess what? If they're not adept at moving forward into the court, if they're not comfortable at the net, you're not going to magically transform them in that afternoon. So what do they like to do? Tell you what, Bob, I just want you to stand back here and just crank forehands cross court. Don't even worry about going down the line. Just crank forehands cross court. And then you get a chance to work it out a little bit to see if we can get involved or what you can do from that point. But trying to re-educate a player in the middle of a match is like, again, wasted energy, I think.
Yeah. I think the other question too, kind of, why are you playing with a weaker partner? So, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just mean it, what's going on with that? Like, I get it. If you're going to go play a tournament and you can't find a partner, and you go to the tournament director and say, hey, look, if there's someone else looking for a partner, would you match us up? And that happens frequently. And so Jeff's answer is perfect. If that's the situation where it's not your choice, then yeah, you got to go with discovering what's that weaker player's strength and see how to strategically, tactically um, enable that, to find that, So I think the other thing too is that, like, sometimes with club events or your tennis facility events, sometimes you get paired together with a weaker partner. Okay, that's fine. To me, that's a fun event. We should be having
Yeah.
a good time anyway, and that's an opportunity, I think, to make the weaker player feel better about what they're doing out there, rather than, as Jeff says, hey, well, let's force them into being, the
Yeah.
Spider-Man poacher up there. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So the OMAC has got a good question. In baseball, a pitcher goes with what he's got command of on that day. Do you do the same, bigger serve, et cetera, or you stay with plan and shot choice throughout? Well, I think it still gets back to, what is that opponent not like?
Yeah.
And in baseball, we also go with, the pitchers also go with mixing up stuff to try to offset the hitter in terms of knowing what's coming in. And I think you got to do the same thing. You've got to have a few different serves, because even if you're going with the big one on that day, if they know what's coming, all things being relative in terms of skill level, let's be real.
Yeah.
We're not bringing such a big serve that to three different spots, to the tee, to the body, and out wide. That, but the other thing I would tell you too is that, um, like when I'm playing doubles, and my partner comes to me and says, "It's a big point, man. You know what? We're at 4-all in the third, and it's add in," and they say, "Well, what do you think?" And if we're doing signals, and I just say, "Well, what do you feel like right now is your best serve?" They
Yeah.
go, "Well, I just feel really good going to the body." I go, "Bring it, let's go."
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, "Hey, on this point, hey, I need you to really bounce that thing out wide." They go, "Well, Brent, I haven't bounced one out wide in 3 years. What are you talking about, man?" So,
Did you see one of those serves in the 3 sets? No.
that's right. That's right.
Maybe you don't want to make that call.
Yeah. I would also say too that, yeah, you got to be real that on some days where maybe yesterday, in that round of 16 when you played that guy, you had this one serve going, but today it just didn't show up.
Right.
So that's fine. That's just the reality. Now you're in the quarters, and that serve that you was really bombing yesterday is not there. Trying to force that in today, if it's not working, it just go with what's working today. And
Yeah.
so I think that's a great question. Rich, one guy I play with, is always looking to cover the line when I'm putting the ball right in front of them. What I would tell you on that one is, it sounds to me like the guy doesn't really want to move out in the middle. So I would just say, look, man, when hey, here's what I'm doing. I would say, here's my intention of what I'm trying to do, which is I'm trying to put the ball in front of you, and just throw a fake poach in there. Even if you're not comfortable moving into the middle and covering the middle, throw a fake poach in, make the guy maybe go up the line to where you're covering, and let's see.
Yeah.
Or I would find another doubles partner.
Whenever you ask, or you tell your partner, "I'm going to fake poach," or you ask your partner to fake poach, the guy who's doing the faking needs to pay attention, because what is the point of the fake poach? The point is to little distraction, add another layer of pressure, give the returner something to think about. But the reality is that if they take the bait, you get the ball. So there has to be this level of expectation when you do fake poach, that you should be visually and physically ready to receive a ball. And sometimes that gets lost in translation. That you're fake poaching. Why are we doing it? Well, we're doing it to, again, add layers of pressure that last layer of pressure on the serve. And if they take the bait, well, here comes the ball. And
Better
you
be
know what?
ready.
The ball may not be a sitter. They may catch it just right, and here comes, a frozen rope. It's coming. So are you paying attention to be able to, just send that ball back to where it came from? You don't need to do anything with it. Great, especially if they've hit a great shot. Send it back and say, give me another pitch. I didn't like that one. But that's part of that deal is that if you're creating the situation that you might get the ball. And so, Rich, again, are they decent volleyers? If not, I don't know. Do we really want to create that if they can't actually break an egg with the ball on a volley?
Chris Drew's got his question is, in senior doubles, if you as the net player cross to poach, are you expected to win the point outright and not allow a return to the vacated side of the court? No. I mean, can you imagine the pressure if you've got a partner that says, all right, if you're going to poach and the ball comes back and I got to make a play on it, we're done. So, Chris, no, look, what I would tell you is that, no, you're not expected to win the point outright, because the reality is you could play the perfect volley to the perfect open part of the court. And yet one of those opponents over there might guess that that's where you're going to play it just before you hit it, take one step in the middle.
Right.
And now they got a racket on it. And, sometimes they guess, but you've hit the volley so well that it doesn't come back. But lots of times they guess and it does come back. And so, look, you and your partner, whether it's a signal, it's a pre-planned poach, or if you're just doing it on your own, which is fine. I don't have a problem. If I've got a partner who wants to poach on their own, I'm going to see it and I'm going to go, hey, baby, that's great. But I'm always thinking that it can come back, and I'm going to cover their side of the court. Again, whether it's pre-planned or not. Look, you might play a ball and just ding it right at the guy's feet, at the kneecaps, and the guy just luckily somehow drops the racket head down and you hit their string bed right square in the sweet spot. Perfect. And it rips back. Are you now never going to poach again? Because no.
Right.
So you can't win it. You can't win the point every time that you poach. So just be more disruptive. Jeff said the reason for a fake poach, and the reason for a poach is to not only get into their heads right then and there, but also you get some future benefit out of it too.
Right.
So no.
It doesn't have to be a winner, but you should hit that ball, and then where is the next place you should go stand? Your partner should be paying attention, and they should see that happen, because they're the player behind you. It should be obvious to their visual acuity that, oh, my partner is coming across the court, and they're coaching. I better cover, right? Yeah. So that's an automatic. Like, that should happen automatically. The only caveat is if on the poach, the return, let's say the return to serve is a little, let's say more court centric. It's on your side of the center strap. Well, you don't need to go all the way across then. And again, your partner should be aware of seeing you haven't actually crossed the plane of the halfway point, crossed over the center strap. And being the player back, if I'm not sure what they're doing, I might bark out an instruction. Keep going, switch, stay. Like, all that verbiage is perfectly legal. Okay. And I mean, if I had an opponent in doubles, piss and moan about, you can't talk while we're playing, I'd wonder, like, what are we doing here? Like, really, you're paying attention to me talking to my partner about switching or stay? Those things are perfectly allowed, and it always surprises me when people pull out that card, like, you can't talk. Like, oh God, what are we doing here? Like, really, your concentration is so shallow that you heard me say stay, and you stayed across the net, right?
That's right. You told everybody to stay where they are. All right. Good.
Anyway.
Kev, good morning. What are your thoughts on which side to play, deuce or ad side? In doubles, sometimes I feel the strongest player should play ad, but other times I feel a stronger player should be in the deuce. Your thoughts? So here's my thought, Jeff, is the first thing I do if I'm playing with someone who's stronger, I say, what do you love? What side do you like? And I'm going to defer to them, whatever they want.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, all things being equal, I'm going to go, which one of us do you think's got the better overhead? Because if we're both right-handed players, we probably want the better overhead in the middle of the court. So, and that gets away from, forehand. Who's got the better forehand or the better forehand volley? I guess that's one thing, but to me, it's more important. I want the better overhead in the middle of the court.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, and then one thing I think, the other thing too is that, well, consistently, who returns serve better,
right?
Consistently, should it be on the deuce side? Well, if you return serve better in the deuce side, then in theory you're winning more points and you're giving your less consistent partner maybe a little less pressure over there on the ad side. But if you return serve better and you like the ad side, now the deuce guy's going, God dang it. All I'm doing is screwing up and giving my partner over there. He's got to win the point, the pressure. So to me, that is.
I have a little different take on it.
Right, go with it.
And it's a little bit of a math equation, right? So
Okay.
I always like to know, like, who's the stronger returner on the ad side, right? That's kind of like a bit of the first go, because the math equation part of it is that the deuce side only has one opportunity to win the game. That's at 40-15. That's it. The ad side has 3. So that part of the math equation becomes very important. That do we have somebody on the ad side that can put consistently that return to serve back in play? And so I always look at it like if the ad player if the strongest player, their favorite side is the ad side, but the other player, the weaker player, their favorite side is the ad side too. I always say, do not take your strongest player and put them in their weaker position. Keep them in the strongest place they should be. But also, you got to take, again, the math side of it is very important. That do you have a weak player in the ad side because that's their favorite side? And I can tell you this from playing mixed, we've played a few teams that where the gal has played the ad side, and we've been able to completely take advantage of it. Not saying that they're not good players, but being able to hit a high kicker, driving it out, getting it up on them, it changes what happens. The strategically what you decide to do with the ball. So anyway, those are things to take into consideration. I tend to lean toward the math side of it a little bit, probably heavier than the what's your favorite color.
Oh, that's cute. I think with another question is like on a sunny day. Well, who should be serving in the sun? Both players are right-handed. The sun's brutal, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon here in the desert now. And so I'm always telling, if in my serve, not the biggest, average. And so if I've got a partner who's got a stronger serve, I'm going, dude, we're putting you over on the non-sunny side. I'll deal with the sun because I don't want to weaken my stronger partner, or my partner who's got a stronger serve. Why would I put them in the sunny side and dilute their serve, and where on the non-sunny side, my average serve, does it get a whole lot better? No. So I'll deal with it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good question, Kev. Lori's got how to help a good singles player that has no doubles experience fast track to doubles, where to start. So really good question. And the obvious answer, and I don't mean this flippantly, but the obvious answer is just start playing a ton of doubles and just start
I
working on return to serve. If you can return serve, meaning back cross court, get the ball in front of your partner consistently. If you can return serve with a lob over that player in front of you consistently, I mean, you've just taken the game to a level where your phone's going to be ringing off the hook. People aren't going to care if you're just starting to learn to know how to play doubles. If you can return serve and you can do that consistently, putting it back in front of your partner and or lobbing to where now your partner maybe you're playing the deuce side and your partner's now getting a bunch of overhead opportunities. I mean, your cell phone battery is going to be on, you're going to need another one. So
I think my take is like, what kind of singles player are you? Or if you're thinking about playing with a partner who's primarily a singles player, what kind of player are they? Are they baseline grinders? Are they certain volleyers? Are they kind of an all court player? And the like playing and getting through the first two balls is just massive. So we go to serve +1, right? Or return +1. If we can make our first two shots, that's all we're looking for. And then as Brent has said, playing with Dick Johnson. Yeah. Yep. Is then you take it from there. Then you start to develop, point construction a little bit after that. But if you can get your partner, or if it's you, make your serve. If your tendency is to serve and stay back, fine. Can you then hit a ground stroke that actually can inflict some pain? And can you make those first two shots high quality? And that doesn't mean we're edging the lines. It doesn't mean we're hitting the howitzer right out of the gate. It just means, am I making a good serve to the right target? And am I hitting a high quality first ball? Because here's the reality in doubles, and this happens this happens in these numbers are the pros, and it's also at the 3-5-4 level. And that is 80% of the points in doubles are won in 0 to 4 hits. So we don't have to be mathematical geniuses and come up with these fancy plays. If you can hit high quality your first two balls, and that's a serve and a first ball, or a return and a first ball, you're halfway home. And you're going to have your partner will have a chance to get involved then if you're the one who's back. So it's not a big Bible of massive book of plays and nuance. It's, can we be really efficient in the first 2 to 3 hits and just play journeyman ball? And journeyman ball is boring tennis, but winning is never boring. So,
yeah, I would say the other thing besides what Jeff has just said, which is if you start playing a ton of doubles, what you're going to find is everything's going to start to kind of condense into, wait a minute, there's only a few things I really have to do. I don't have to have this incredible encyclopedic knowledge of it. I would say a great drill for starting out would be this one-on-one cross-court doubles drill, where you guys divide the court up in half using the doubles alley is fine, but you draw an imaginary line from the tee back to the baseline, and you can only play out points cross court, right? So you can serve 10 times. If you want to switch from deuce to add, that's fine. But you guys play out points cross court. And as if you both have imaginary partners, but so you don't need 4 guys in the court. You just need one practice partner to make this work. And the thing to start working on is trying and experiment with some serve and transition. Serve and come in. Maybe it's a volley, maybe it's a half volley, maybe it's a short ball that you let bounce up, as we saw in yesterday's episode of What's the Right Shot, where I played a serve, put on the brakes early, let the ball bounce up, and then play a little approach shot, right? And you start doing this. I mean, the first year in the 35s, my doubles partner Rob Olson and I went down to San Antonio, played the National 35 hard courts. We thought we were hot stuff in NorCal, and we'd won some tournaments in NorCal, and we go down there, we get thumped in the first round by a couple of guys got thumped in their next round. And I remember staying around for a few days going, okay, I got to figure this thing out because I guess we're not very good. And I just I just started looking at the top guys, top doubles players, and I was going, all right, they don't hit the ball any better than I do. However, here's the shot patterns that they're getting themselves into. So we went back, and for the next year, Rob and I played this drill, one-on-one cross-court doubles, probably 3 times a week for about an hour. And we it was convenient because we had the Moraga Country Club right there by our office, and we just walk over there every day around noon or 1 and play for an hour. And the next year we go into a full 64 draw, 35 hard courts, unseeded, and we win the tournament. And
Boom.
it was just because everything had become shot choice wise had become super simple. And Rob, back then, man, the guy had a big time serve. I got so desensitized to a big time serve because
Right.
returning that guy's thing just over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that you can do is get out there, get one practice partner, and yeah. Susanna, how do you guys balance time on the court, practice matches, and improving strength, flexibility, et cetera, fitness off the court during the week? I mean, mine is, I don't really think of balance. I listen to my body, and my body tells me, all right, dude, look, you haven't been off the court for the last 15 days.
Right.
You're not really feeling it today, are you? So I just go with that. But I would say, my typical week, Jeff, is on the court 6 days a week. Fortunately for me, I'm on the grass. So I'm not, could I do 6 days a week on hard courts? I don't think so. I mean, when I was younger, I could. When I was younger at the Berkeley Tennis Club, I'd go out there and play my 2.5 hours, and then I'd go to my locker number 80 at the, men's locker room there, and I'd change from tennis shoes into running shoes. And I'd run the 1 mile from the club over to Memorial Stadium at Cal back in the day when, the football team was so bad that the whole stadium was wide open. You could just go on in there and I just run, I just go do those section of stairs, and then run back. There's no way I could do that now. So I would tell you this, if you only have hard courts available to you, then I think you got to be really smart and maybe really know what your body's saying to you about how much tennis you can play, how much time you can practice.
Right.
And then for me in the gym, I'm in the gym every other day. And I vary that from, like today, I don't know if we'll be able to get out on the court today, but today feels like it's going to be a big gym day if I can't. And so I just I don't really have a set schedule. I used to try to have a set schedule, just never worked out. It just never really worked out to be. So,
Yeah. I'm
and I'm not really getting into the specifics of it. I don't play. Someone asked me this the other day. Well, how many practice sets are you playing a week? And I said, I don't play many. I used to play a lot of singles practice sets.
right.
Because that's what Mr. Stowe said. Just stop running the hills in Berkeley. Stop doing that. Just go play a bunch of practice sets. I said, all right. But for me now, I play a lot of practice points in singles, and I'm playing enough tournaments to where I feel like I'm getting plenty of practice matches.
Right.
I'm not saying a tournament's a practice match, but I get a lot of double sets. I get a ton of double sets. And so I guess that's kind of a roundabout answer.
I tend to, because of my schedule, I tend to, when I'm like in the groove and weather and everything is cooperating, I'm in the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week sometimes. But I do alternating days of kind of a general fitness circuit, where I'm doing sidestepping. I've got a battle rope jump rope that's 5.5 pounds. It takes a long time for that rope to come around the revolution. So I jump twice for every single revolution of the rope. So I do a set of 50. And then I do 30 side steps, 15 out, 15 back with a band around my knees. I do then 25 standing squats. And then I have one of those maxi climbers that I found on Facebook for $30. It was brand new. And I'll pump out 75 reps on that. And then I take a minute and I'll do that circuit 4 times. And then that's my workout that day in the gym. The next day I might lift, might be a little more weight oriented. And what I've just started with that is after I do 3 sets of let's say bench press, I'll jump on the maxi climber and pump out 75 reps. And I'm finding that translates really well to being on the court, because on the court we're not jogging for a half a mile straight. These are short spurts. We're on the court. We need our breath and to be able to recapture the breath quickly and be ready to move again. In between points. So that's kind of my routine. When I'm very fortunate that my client list, everybody is a 4.5 plus player or 5.0 player. So I'm seeing a really good ball all the time. And then when tournament is coming up, I will make the extra effort then to schedule in some practice sets, doubles, depending on what event I'm going to be playing, and tune that in as we get closer to the event.
Yeah. I think the other thing too, guys, is flexibility is really crucial to being able. At least for me, I find that I have to. I've got to work a lot on my hamstrings. I mean, if I don't really get those bad boys stretched out, and I use the Theragun a lot now because for whatever reason it really helps with my lower back. So I would say spend a lot of time with stretching, a lot of time with whatever you have to do, because it helps with recovery so that you can go out tomorrow and do what you want to do, whether it's in the gym and or on the court.
Yeah. And I would add this one last thing too, is I know that if on any given day that, schedule changes and all of a sudden I'm on the court 5 hours, I won't work out. That's done. I've spent 5 hours on the court and that's like, nope.
Susanna, advice for picking a doubles partner: look for someone who's better than me, complements my game. Good enough, Kim? Well, of course, if you can find someone who's better than you are, who's a great doubles player, who's super positive, who makes you look good, pay them.
I think, a big part of that is chemistry. First is, would you enjoy spending 2 hours with this person on the court? And could you do it in a tournament, which is now you're going to play, 3 to 4 matches, 3 to 4 days in a row under a higher pressure arena? And how do you react under those moments? Some people, hey, they're very friendly. That's great. It seems like this is a good mix, but all of a sudden you're in a high pressure situation and they blow a gasket and they're looking at you funny because you missed a ball. And it's like, well, wait a second here. So I think, find
That's
somebody.
That's got to be number one. That's got to be
number one who you think that the time spent, even if it's, again, I find that time, playing with Erica in mixed, the time is enriching. It's like, it's the best time ever. Are we focused? Are we serious? Are we there to get business done? Absolutely, without a doubt. But I find that time spent with her on the court is there's joy gleaned out of it. It's fun. It's highly competitive. We're serious, but there's just a lot to be gleaned from it. So find somebody that really, that's the experience. And that's, for me anyway, that's, because the better, getting better is easier if that's your partner. Improving something becomes easier if you have a partner that you can, actually, that complements you.
Yeah. Ian's got a reality question. I play with retired folk who rarely serve hard enough to ace or dictate the return. Cross-court drop shots and lobs are common. Where should the server's partner stand? So what I would say is that if that's the case, the server's partner is probably not going to do a lot of poaching. right? So that if the service partner is too close to the net, hoping that something goes their way, they're going to get lobbed all day long.
Yeah.
And so what I would say is that this is maybe not the way that you and I would do it, but I would say service partner ought to stand back a little bit in the service box to try to discourage a lob,
Right. The lob.
and try to get a cross court return. And look, all things being equal, if the retired server can't break an egg with the serve, well, it's probably the same thing for the returner too. They're probably not just mashing, unless you're Mike Stewart. And if you're Mike Stewart, then you got a problem. All right,
Yeah,
I get that.
you got a situation.
So what I would say is that just have that partner stand back a little bit to try to, best case, discourage the lob. And if you're the server, ball's coming back to you. Is it coming back with? No, it's not. It's not coming back with a ton of pace. So cover the drop shot, the cross court drop shot, serve. And if you don't want to serve in transition, then serve and stay in a few feet, looking for that shorter return.
Yeah.
And then just be Mike Stewart. Just unload.
Yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. Push the person back like 3/4 deep in the service box, and as much as the service line itself. I mean, we're constantly, even at our level, playing, 60 mixed in the gold ball events, the category ones, that we're constantly adjusting position based on who we're playing, and taking away certain things. You know what? They seem to do that well, and they can kind of do it at will. Okay, well, let's see if we can take that away from them, or at least put ourselves in a better position to handle what they want to deliver. So yeah, you've got to be very flexible in finding where they should stand, but as deep as the service line, I think.
Jeff, this is a follow-up to what you were talking about. KJ Tennis I charted some league matches 4-0, 65 and over. If the receiving team got the ball back twice, they had a 50-50 chance of winning the point.
Yeah.
There
Twice.
it is.
That's a return to serve and the next ball. So now let's take that. Now, if I can improve the quality of those two shots, the 50-50 is probably going to go up.
And or if you make a third shot.
Right.
So I remember once talking to Erica about a drill she was doing, and she was out there. It was actually one-on-one, what we talked about before, some one-on-one practice, and she was getting ready for a tournament. They were playing some one-on-one cross-court points, and I said, what are you working on today? And I thought she would say, I'm working on the return, I'm working on this, and she said, I'm working on making 3 balls.
Yeah.
She just said, I figure if I can make 3 balls, a return, a transition, and a first volley. First volley is not the second shot. Lots of times in reality, it's the third shot. And it's the same thing with the serve. The serve, the transition, and the first volley. If you can make those, the chances go up astronomically that you're going to win the point. You're not going to win every point. It's not a formula for guaranteed, but you're going to win more than 50% of the points, I think.
Right. And that's it. And it's really, when I'm on court, coaching this, players are kind of surprised that it's like, listen, you don't need to do anything magical with the return or the second shot. But if we can get them focused into hitting a good return, a ball that has, well struck and the right location, and then the next ball hit with authority, inflicting a little more pain, higher quality. Again, that doesn't mean winner, but the higher quality, those first 2 balls, it changes the dynamic of everything, and quickly. So that's really, in playing some of the beast. Thank you. In some of the matches that, Eric and I have played in the mix, where all of a sudden it's like, I come out maybe, and our semifinal match was like, a little odd. They were an interesting team. He hit the ball heavy, but he slid the ball around. Very good player. She, not fast, but she had great eye-hand coordination. She could redirect the ball well, but hit the ball much softer. And so Eric and I both came out a little overamped, and, we kind of overplayed what we needed to do. So we go down 4-0 in the first set, and we have a little discussion saying, hey, you know what? We need a journeyman down here. let's lower the bar a little bit, and let's get down to just good return. First ball, take it from there. Let's make them hit a few more balls, and then we rattle off the next 6 games. So it's really like you've got to see what's going on and understand the value in making your opponent touch the ball is huge.
Rich has got an outstanding question.
I think we're there. We're here.
You found it, Rich. Yeah.
It's right here.
I'm getting the hairy eyeball from my beautiful wife here about I need to be out of the kitchen area because we have dogs to feed and things to do. So,
Yep.
Anyway, guys, this has been great. A lot of fun. I think we should do this more often, Jeff.
Yeah.
And
It's fun.
And if you guys have any follow-up questions, certainly go ahead, put them down in the comments area, and or you can shoot me an email, Brent@webtennis.com. And I think Jeff has got, let's get rid of that. Do that one. There we go. Jeff is at jeff@jackwoods365.com.
Yeah.
If you want to keep the conversation private. So, all right. Guys, get out there today. Let's help someone else have a spectacular day. Jeff, good stuff as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
And see you guys next time. How about that?
Great idea.
Yeah. All right. See you.